When you hear the tone, it will be just 3 minutes to showtime. Still time to visit the refreshment stand before the next feature starts.
Who's gonna answer this riddle? 'Cause the Sphinx won't tell. Will you be somebody special? Just on the road to hell. Little pieces of gossip might set you back for a spell. Though you come out swinging, I don't think it'll help. Tell me who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from yourself? Tell me who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from yourself? Tell me who's gonna save you? There's no time. See, there's no time left for this. Your whole world's turned upside down, and the walls are closing in. But if you made your mind up to land, would you ever hear the end of it? So maybe somebody hurt you, but you never tell. Can't worry about the past when time's pushing you ahead. And all of those resentments, they're in the back of your head. And the natural born talent, well, it's still ain't quite dead. Tell me who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from yourself? Tell me who's gonna save you? Who's gonna save you from yourself? Tell me who's gonna save you?
And now, showtime.
It's Halloween time, everybody. Welcome and good evening to those of you listening or watching Fleapit After Dark right now. I'm your host, Jeremy Brown. I'm surprised at myself to be able to dish out another one of these, and I'm even more grateful that joining me tonight is an eclectic artist and musician. He's a singer, songwriter for the band The Orwells, as well as an indie music guy on the side, from what I can gather, and we've been orbiting each other's work for quite some time. Mario Cuomo is here with me tonight on the show. Mario, how are you doing, man?
What up, man? I'm amazing. Thank you for having me. It's a fucking beautiful Sunday.
Yeah, and to talk about such a relatable, oddball sort of New York historical film from the 90s that I guess is fitting in many ways, not only just true to the Halloween spirits and horror movies, but I guess true to life for a lot of lonely, sad, alcoholic individuals out there. But the movie we're covering tonight is Habit.
I think I'm doing the right thing, Sam. I want you to be careful, okay?
Already wasted? thinking about you.
But the less you know about me, the longer you'll stay interested.
Might have something to hide.
No?
I've never seen her eat. I've never seen her drink. I've never seen her smoke. I've never seen her once. Not once in the daylight. Damn, this I'm in trouble.
Live as we dream alone.
I was originally going to be covering, or I wanted to cover on Lorez's show a while back last year when I watched it. We ended up talking about Halloween Ends and the movie Assholes instead, but
Okay.
I mean, it gets kind of shifty because I having it take place in like the East Village,
Yeah.
New York scene. It was like I needed somebody who probably recognizes that scene better than I could
Totally.
to talk to about it. But either way, like I think there's still so much to pull from this, even if you don't live out there or know these kinds of people. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, real quick, Mario, how did you discover this film, and what was your like first initial impression of it when you saw it?
I think I just saw somebody like post the poster of it like on Twitter, and could it have been you actually that posted it?
I might have been playing it up quite a bit because it really did leave an impression for
Honestly,
a while.
I think you might have just tweeted about it, and I saw the poster, and I was like, oh, there's that guy. There's that guy from You're Next.
Yeah.
Right. With the toothless man, and
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I see this guy fucking. This dude pops up in everything.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this looks a little older. I should probably check this out. See. I like to see where people come from. If I
Sure.
like, especially like reoccurring faces like that. And I was pretty blown away, especially that like I think this film kind of captures that like party going kind of like October nightlife that it being in New York. I think anybody that's ever it reminded me of like going to parties in Chicago around like Wicker Park and stuff when I was a little younger, and it just captures that like those house party scenes are so real. I think they're done extremely well, and I think there's this overall kind of like this vampire realism that I think this movie achieves much better, and it's a more grounded film as far as like vampire shit goes. But I think this film achieves that much better than some other movies that I think might have like attempted the same thing, like Abel Ferrara's The Addiction.
Yeah.
Is like like it's like in that vein, but I think I don't know, this just kind of captures the overall thing better. And then what's that other movie that I did not like? Only Lovers Left Alive or something.
You drank, Ian.
Adam.
You drank. Ian.
Sorry.
Yeah.
With Tilda.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of like again going for something like this that was maybe I don't know what it was that didn't work with that movie. If it was almost like too, there's a little dirt on this movie that I think just kind of makes everything more believable. But yeah, I was blown away by this movie, dude. And I think anybody that I've recommended it to has just been like, whoa, holy shit,
Yeah, I've only shown it to like a few friends and family, and I've gotten like a similar reaction where people are kind of taken aback by how in many ways it's just so subtle and low key. It's not like doing anything that's like there's no like gotcha moments. There's no jump scares really or anything that's trying to like be in your face or obnoxious. It's kind of just a really uh I guess it kind of does like that whole mumblecore scene before like mumblecore or even like slice of life movies like
Yeah.
that were like really hitting off in like the 2000s 2010s.
Yeah, I actually don't know what mumblecore is. Like, I feel like
Oh, okay.
I've heard like low res and other people say it before, but like, do you have an example that like I might know about or something? Because like I don't
Yeah.
really understand
Do you
fully
know
what that is.
do you know the Duplass brothers?
Can you like name a movie or two by them?
They did they done a bunch. They did like the show on HBO Togetherness. They did the Creep movies 1 and 2.
Oh, Creep.
Yeah, Creep.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
I've
found
seen
footage.
that. Yeah, I've seen all those.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, like to describe like the mumblecore, it's kind of like these very just like they're kind of rooted as these indie down to earth sort of dialogue heavy films without being like putting emphasis on the dialogue. It's not really scripted. Like people get to be a little bit more
Yeah.
loose and
Oh, is
talk
there
over
like
each other.
there's a lot of like riffing and kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, more of that.
Oh, dude, maybe the short film I made was mumblecore then because I fucking barely wrote any script for that. I
I
kind
mean,
of let everybody go.
yeah, it kind of glosses over because I mean, yeah, I did want to talk about The Grove at some point as well too because that was a really fantastic short film debut
Thanks, dude.
coming from you. And I gotta admire just the way you release it. Like we're just dropping this on YouTube. It's out there for anybody to see. You know, like that's
Yeah,
kind of usually my mentality with a lot of stuff. Like I drop
yeah.
stuff on Vimeo, but
I gotta get my foot in the door, dude. Like it's like people. I just had to. When you're trying something new, I didn't really think about anything besides. I didn't. I mean, I didn't think about anything past like finishing it and like having somebody be able to watch it. Like I didn't know like if it was gonna turn out to the point where like I would even like, you know, I didn't know if at the end I would have something where like it was watchable or like I was down for people to see it. So I was kind of nervous the whole process, especially before editing. But once we got into editing and it started to piece together, I was like, oh, okay, this is watchable. Like people can probably enjoy this for something.
Yeah, and you got some really organic performances out of everybody too, and everybody was like, it never felt uh like not as an insult or anything, but like it never felt like too directed or too scripted or anything. Everybody got to kind of be natural.
Yeah, I tried to
Which is
let him just go, and they never acted before, so it was just like
yeah.
my cousin and his friends from college, and I think they all kind of did a pretty good job, and I was grateful for them to come out and do that.
Were you intending it? I mean, the horror elements don't really kick in until the very end. Were you intending it to be that kind of film, or was it going to be mostly just like this is the '90s, we're just hanging out for the day, or
Before we started, I definitely wanted it to seem like two separate genres or like two separate films or whatever. Like I was kind of going for half and half, and it turned out more like 2/3 not scary, 1/3 or maybe 1/4 scary at the end. But I definitely wanted there to be a shift in overall vibe or whatever, and wanted to save any eeriness for the end. And I was like, I'm like talking to my cousin while we're editing, and I'm like, dude, this is fine. I was like, I'm happy with this. I was like, here, watch the end of the Blair Witch Project. And then
Yeah.
I like made him watch it. Like he's a Zoomer and like he never saw that shit. And I was like, we watched it and he's like, that's it? And I was like, that's it. I was like, just somebody standing in the fucking corner. You don't see anything. End of movie. He was like, oh man, like, yeah, our shit ends way better. I was like, yeah, dude. But, you know, huge inspiration, obviously, from that movie. And definitely wanted to kind of do my own, like, suburban version or whatever.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I remember you saying on a show, you know, you wanted everybody to make sure they were saying in the right timeline for it, so they weren't like dropping any lingo of like last year or anything, or you know, saying
Yeah,
like I bet or something.
yeah, there's a couple bros that slipped their way into there where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the take, I like the take so much that I was like, fuck it, dude. But I did my very best to keep it, and like they don't really know what, you know, late '90s or even the early 2000s like would be like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, they know whatever they put on like Hot Topic t-shirts, you know, like
Sure.
they don't really know the it was funny when I was like dressing them and shit, and I was like telling them like what they had to wear, or like, you know, how like they weren't supposed to be like the coolest kids at school and like shit like that. And my cousin was like so pissed. He was like, dude, why you gotta make me wear the fucking wackest shit, dude? He's like, what if I gotta wear fucking army pants for 3 days and fucking you know, fucking
Yeah.
weird glasses and a ponytail? And I was like, no, you guys are supposed to be like fucking Columbine kids that are like
Yeah.
kind of pussies. Like you wouldn't actually do something like that, but like you're supposed to be like that segment of the lunchroom, you know, like.
Yeah.
So they were kind of supposed to be like the I guess the weaker, less ballsy, kind of crew of outcasts, just like a few kids that, you know, all they have to do is look for alcohol and,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe some weed, but that's
Sure.
about it.
Yeah, playing video games and yeah, watching cartoons late at night and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chicks. They're, you know,
Yeah.
they don't have fucking girlfriends. Like they
Yeah.
got, you know, a big sister that maybe some of them, you know, like talking to, but other than that, like there's no. They just got their little friend group.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring up like how the ending kind of goes out with a bang too, especially like compared to something like Blair Witch, which blew up um so much at the time in 1999, and then I think since then every found footage movie has felt like they've always had to up the ante with how they end things, whether it be like a character just like blowing up or a car crashing or what,
Mhm.
you know, it's always, but I think you found like a good middle lane between like the subtlety of Blair Witch and then like one of those more over the top found footage movies of the that I've been getting lately, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thanks, dude.
yeah. But Habit is not found footage. Although
No.
sometimes it does feel like a documentary when you watch it.
Mhm.
For those who haven't seen it, I'll just give a quick plot synopsis that I wrote down here. But Sam, our main character, Sam, played by Larry Fessenden, also the writer, director, and editor of this film, is a self-destructive, vaguely artistic New York bohemian who has recently lost his father and his longtime girlfriend. At a Halloween party, he meets a mysterious, beautiful woman named Anna, played by Meredith Snaider, and he embarks on a kinky, sex charged relationship with her. But soon he suffers from a mysterious illness and eventually comes to believe that Anna might just be a vampire or might not even be herself. Um, and I noticed in rewatching this too, there is so many things that if you don't catch it in the editing, like you're gonna miss out on so many key details as to what her character even really is to him as he's
Mhm.
kind of going down on this. I mean, it really is a forever downward spiral. I think this is probably one of the most relatable characters I've seen in a horror film in quite some time. I mean, it's rare that you get a story like this where it's just never-ending sadness, I guess you could
Yeah.
call it that. Kind of just a not even in a nihilistic way, but just like, oh, you just feel sorry for him and everybody involved nonstop because we've all been there at one point or another, or we could end up there, I guess. You know, I know these characters are like in their 30s by this point.
Yeah.
I haven't hit 30. I'm still 28, but like I know what this looks like, and I've seen this scene before. Not being a New York native, and a lot of that really just kind of stands out and really sticks hard. Really sticks the landing. Even when it's kind of messy in places with some of the dialogue and acting, but uh, this is just such a depressing movie. I don't know how to else to describe it.
Yeah, it really took me back to those like fucking house party, maybe you're seeing somebody for a couple weeks, but then you
Yeah.
don't see them because maybe because you just been fucking going to more parties, and then people fucking fall out of contact, and then, you know, you see them at a different party with some other guy, and it's like, it really took me back to that kind of like that time period where you're just kind of bouncing around and grabbing beers and you're just going to places
Oh yeah.
and like you're falling in and out of contact with people and like you may be thinking about somebody from a party or two ago that you were interested in, like will I ever bump into that person again? But it was kind of a it just kind of it captured that whole thing very well. And like even though I've had a couple Halloweens in New York, but it just is, all the experiences that I've had in Chicago could, same shit.
I think it kind of goes the same most big cities. Like I've been to a Halloween party in Philly a few years ago, and they go like insane wild out there.
I bet.
Uh, I I was ready to get out of there as as soon as like shit got too weird. But no, like that, yeah, that scene, I think it kind of carries over to today to some extent, but it's also like such a cool time capsule because even though I wasn't experiencing all that in 1995 when this was happening,
Hmm.
but uh, there's like remnants of it, like it just kind of gets passed on to the next generation, and we find, I guess, new ways to yeah, lighten up the party and make it fun again, I guess, because these are all like these New York like liberal arts friends that are all just kind of like chilling and things like that. Like
Yeah.
like you look at one character in the background, like, oh, I know that guy. It's like
Yeah.
I saw him get like completely like wasted at like some band or what, just
Yeah. Yeah.
um there's like a texture where it's like everybody is just like in most ways possible, just very kind of relatable. So
Totally. Totally. I've definitely been around these sorts of events before, and probably known people like this main character, or had mornings, and you know it's a very youthful movie. And even though, yeah, it is a vampire movie and shit, like I just found it really realistic and just so grounded and well done that I was like, I'm probably gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna rewatch it this season. This is probably gonna be a movie that I revisit a few times.
Look, I'm fine, all right? I just need to get home. It's been a fucking intense night. I've had it. I'll see you tomorrow. We have the whole weekend, all right? I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
All right. I'm sorry.
You will.
I saw this movie before I saw Jacob's Ladder,
okay, all right.
and I think this would be like a really good like double feature to like go with that movie.
Interesting.
After I saw that, I was like, this is like a really fun kind of watching guys lose their minds, kind of films. Like, I think that these two would like pair together pretty good.
Yeah, my history with Jacob's Ladder, oh man, it was I would have been like like a freshman or sophomore in high school. My theater teacher recommended it to me, and they like just gave me the DVD to borrow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
What
and I
a
was like,
savage.
I know, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll check it out. And then like when I saw who was attached, and then when I saw like the frenzy that movie was turning into, and how you couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't,
Yeah.
I was definitely blown away and like easily kind of disturbed at the time.
Yeah, that movie's fucking disturbing as hell, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely my favorite performance from Tim Robbins.
Yeah, Tim Robbins, who got that Raspberry Award for his like horrible performance in Howard the Duck, I think, or whatever.
Tenacious D. No,
Tenacious D. Yeah.
Damn, I never seen Howard the Duck, dude.
It's only okay. It's worth putting on like in the background if you just want like something that's just kind of hokey. Like there's there's cool effects in it and some fun humor, but like generally like it's just too. You're just looking at like what was George Lucas thinking at the time when they were making that, and then they try, they not that I want to dwell on Marvel stuff, but like they try to insert him into all these Marvel movies as like a cameo character. Like they're gonna make a new Howard the Duck movie, but no one really wants it.
No way, dude. I don't know anything about it really, but I always kind of hear people bring up Howard the Duck here and there.
Yeah. For those who have seen it or haven't seen it, it's the film that it's the PG-rated film that features duck titties for the first time. So you get that one quick shot if you need to like freeze frame.
God, I guess it might be worth seeing then.
Yeah,
duck titties. I don't think I've ever seen such a thing.
Yeah. So one thing, what did I say here? So Larry Fessenden, because you were curious about what he'd done in the past because you saw him in Your Next. This guy, he's been getting around really the whole sector of like the indie horror scene.
This dude's been working, dude.
Yeah, if you look at his IMDb, he's produced like over 130 films. He's directed like, gosh, I don't know, like 100 movies or so now. In fact, this movie Habit is a remake of a film he did in 1981, also with the same name. Also a feature film, and also with him in it, just different actors.
Really?
Yeah, this is an elaborate, much more polished version of that original film that you can't find or watch. You can find clips of it, but that's about it.
Damn, I had no idea.
Yeah.
We were screwing, right, with Anna on top. And we're getting that on, and I suddenly feel this really sharp pain in my neck, right?
Uh-huh.
And I look up and I say, what the fuck, Anna, what are you doing? Because she's biting into my neck, man.
No, I'm serious, man. She's biting into my lip to draw blood. So I say, what the fuck, Anna? What are you doing? And she says, oh, just a little bit at a time, Sam.
And man, she started to rock me like this, and it was just like having warm milk pulsing through your veins or something, man.
It's like nothing I've ever felt before. It's like when we're screwing, it's like having like warm milk running through your veins or something. I'm serious, man. I mean, at first I was going with it because it was like, I don't know, it's just like our little thing, like me and Anna, right?
This is like nothing else, man. This is like nothing you've ever done before. This is like, it's like you leave your body and you commune with their soul or something, man. I mean, it's the most. Oh, it's. And when I came, man, it's like being, shot into space or something,
So he's really like, this is his like guinea pig project. He's always wanted to keep working at this film and keep making it or keep having it evolve and turn into something new. So like, who knows, he probably wants to build like a Habit universe or something with it. But
yeah, dude, let's have another. I'd be down. This guy seems really good at what he does, and every time he pops up in some shit, I'm always happy to see him.
Yeah. Well, he's got a weird look though too. You probably notice he's got that really big, bulky scalp. His hairline is so far back. He's got, I don't know. He looks like somebody you would find like in like Southwest Texas or something, and just like he wound up in the New York scene.
Yeah, he looks like he does not give a fuck. For sure.
Pretty much. And it's under his name complete. Glass Eye Pix is the distribution company. He's always been. So the way I discovered this film was actually through on Shudder when they featured it. It was on the Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs last year.
Really?
And he was on the show, and he was able to kind of talk about it more in depth and how it really was this kind of trail off for him to revisit his time growing up in school, and like his working life, and just like that whole trip into loneliness and despair. And that's really the performance he gives the whole way through. Is, you know, I watch. I was rewatching scenes from it, and I was just thinking, like, there's never a moment where Larry Fessenden's character, Sam, like he ever gets like a bit of comeuppance, or a moment where he gets to shine in a positive light. And if that moment ever does come, Anna like immediately slips in and like intervenes and like just brings it right back down again. Like, because he gives like that really harrowing speech for his dead father, and then he has some nice interactions with some of his workmates, and then she just comes in and then like brings down the energy again, and it's just like, oh dude. It's yeah, it's such a wild movie in that regard.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else that you've seen, like maybe recently or in the past, that you would kind of, you know, say that like if people like if you like this movie, it was like, if you have another like recommendation that might feel like that kind of captures this like similarly, or not really? Do you think this one kind of like stands on its own in that regard?
I think genre-wise, this one definitely is sitting in its own playground, and it's really doing something that's it's tough because I'm not seeing a lot of horror movies wanting to put this mirror to their face and like kind of really breaking down how broken they might be. Um, I know there was that recent film, Talk to Me, which kind of gets into like I guess in a similar way, kind of gets into addiction a little bit, and just I guess where people are mentally at that age. I haven't seen it though yet, so I'm kind of out of the loop to really like give any credence to that movie. But
Yeah, no, I saw it, dude. I guess you can make the you could say that it's maybe it's like a dive into the addiction of Snapchat or something. Or
okay,
like,
okay,
like
yeah,
it's like there was one, but I don't know. I had one gripe with that movie, that like they kind of use like this phenomenon that's happening, and they like it kind of spreads through Snapchat through like a group of friends, when like I had a hard time like thinking like, oh no, dude, like if this was filmed on someone's phone, like this would be doing like a billion views on TikTok. You know,
yeah.
like they try to make it like, oh, like, did you see what they did on my friend's Snapchat story? And you're like, no way, dude. If somebody filmed some shit like this, like it would be on TikTok, it would be on the fucking news.
Yeah.
So like I had a little bit of a hard time with that angle of it.
Well, there's some detachment there too, because it's just like I mean, it still is like a common agreement amongst most horror fans, or at least whatever you might even consider yourself. But like cell phones really did kind of kill a lot of horror movies in terms of just like taking them seriously or treating them as any sort of realistic like treating it as if there's any sort of realistic threat, because you could just call the cops or your family or anybody, you know, with the click of a button. Or, you know, it's really kind of, or yeah, you know, you have
Yeah.
cellular activity in the most remote places now. Like,
Yeah.
I got my 5G, so
Yeah. Like what did it give us? One missed call?
yeah.
Yeah. Is that the best? Is that the best thing the cell phones gave horror?
Yeah,
Just one missed call, probably.
if they had to make cell phones the theme, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that is more and more that I guess that kind of gives more and more of a reason to people to set things maybe a little bit further back in time. And you know, even if you take things back to even if you take things set something back in like the flip phone era, you might be able to get away with a little bit more
Sure.
and like not have to explain so much. But I've seen some cool examples. Like I liked Spree, um, but for the most part, like once you start getting apps involved and things, like it can really start to take away from a lot of you know, like the beauty of a shot, really. Like you start having fucking tweets and shit pop up in movies and you get too meta and it's like, even when I was like even just in real life, dude, like watching a fucking UFC fight and
Yeah.
having random tweets pop up, in the stream. And it's like, I was like watching a fight with my friends and it was like a tweet from Steve-O. It was just like, "Yeah, dude." And I was just like,
It,
"God damn it."
it
I was
takes you
like,
out of it. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, "Dude, I do not want to think about Steve-O right now. Like, I'm fucking just about to see some like hyped up, like long awaited fight in between a couple guys. And I'm just got tweets from fucking people popping up. And I'm like, give us a fucking break, dude. Give us a little bit of a break. We're just here to see some people fight. It's all good." But
Yeah.
yeah, so like when even stuff like that is recreated in films, sometimes I'm like, God damn, like I still want like a break from this. So like
Yeah.
for it to
Yeah.
be done in a movie and like be really well done, um, I can really only think of like one example, and it was like that Uber driver movie was probably like the funnest kind of like modern twist on that I think that I saw recently.
Yeah. What's that movie called? I don't know if I saw that one, but it's got
I
the guy
think
from
it's
Stranger Things.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
called Spree.
Spree. Okay.
I think so.
Um.
But that's a pretty fun movie. But other than that, like yeah, like shit popping up on the screen and apps getting involved, and it's hard to pull off when like we have all that shit right now. Like maybe in the future it'll be a little bit more fun to have to see somebody go like Instagram live in a movie or something. Right now it's like fuck man, I can't pick up my phone without seeing that shit. So like
Yeah.
it's a little harder for me to like enjoy that or like think it's cool.
Well, and that's definitely reflected, I think, in your film, The Grove, as well. Like, there's just none of that like smartphone tech anywhere because you placed it in a time period where, the people had to find other ways to entertain themselves and just
Yeah.
like get
And
by.
that's why they have to, steal CDs and like drive through the
Yeah,
cemetery. And because it's just, it's I like romanticize that time period when I just think about friends having to like make do with that,
mhm,
and how fucking cool that was. And I got to experience a little bit of that before like the iPhones came around. I still had to, we still had to go find things like that. And even when we couldn't find a party, but we already had the alcohol, and we would just like park in a car
yeah,
and drink. And I would call it we would call it car parties.
yeah,
It was literally just like the fucking whole car is full. It turns out there's nowhere to drink. And like we were, posted up in a driveway or something, and we're all sitting there, and I'm like, just fucking enjoy the car party, dude. And like, eventually we would all start fucking, laughing and shit and be like, oh, all right, this wasn't that bad. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
dude, even a good old fashioned car party, or like, like the hell we would go through to find a lighter, or
Sure.
some fucking tinfoil or something to smoke weed. And now like my cousins are just passing around like fucking weed pens at fucking, sleepovers or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, you guys are on fucking easy mode, dude. Like, I feel like such a boomer, but I'm like, we
Yeah,
had to,
yeah,
we had to steal lighters, dude. Like, you couldn't just have weed and like that would be it. Like, we're crawling under the counter at 7-Eleven and shit. Like, we're getting a 5-pack of Bic lighters,
sure.
so we won't have to worry about fire for a while.
Yeah,
You
just
know?
scram through the dust of like 7-Eleven to see what it's like still around.
Yeah, dude. Like, so they don't really know what that's like, and hopefully, like in the future, we get to see more people recapture stuff like that on film. I'd be excited to see that.
Definitely. I it brings me back, when I think of just like my college days where like I just partied a whole lot. I was living in Richmond, Virginia at the time, and it's wild out there today even, but we just knew a couple of local spots to go like buy cigarettes, buy Four Locos, and just like ride our bikes to like some park and then just drink and just play music and chill. Like that was like if there was no party to go to, if there's no event, that was just what we did, And it
Yeah.
was and I don't long for those days anymore. I feel like such a boomer too, because it's just like it feels weird, but like I definitely when I see you like at least performing like when you're on tour, like and you still kind of got the energy, like you're like, no,
Hmm.
no, I still got it. I think I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
still
yeah.
get around, but my partying days are not quite what they used to be,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
nah, it's all good, dude. Like fucking, I'm very glad that I hung that up. But it's funny to get have the occasional interaction with somebody that um maybe expected you to just be the same way. Like
Yeah.
I had like maybe two interactions with people that were like almost upset that I was not fucked up, which was
Mm.
really weird. And for the most part, everybody was like, super cool and respectful.
Yeah.
And but there was but like I'm like, God damn, like those two shitty interactions that I had, um, they did kind of stick out. Like somebody was like almost like interrogating me, like, what are you drinking? You're drinking water? And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah. And they were like, nah, man, like you chug alcohol. Like they were telling me that. And I was like, I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
They were just like, and they were just drunk as fuck, and they were looking at me like they didn't like me anymore. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
Or like just like random fucking things that people yell from the crowd, like just like drink a beer, chug a beer, like just like dude, there's like people like that are like
Yeah.
they want they want the exact fucking they want me in the exact form that like they last saw me and like got comfortable with or whatever. So like, I mean, for the most part, you're not dealing with stuff like that, but
Sure.
once in a while, you get the occasional character that's like, "What? Like
Yeah.
this isn't the like you're not the same. You're not gonna be the same forever. What the fuck?" It's like,
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, they want like the image of somebody to do what they can't do themselves or don't want to do themselves, but they want to see somebody else act it out in some way. I don't know what if
yeah,
there's a word for
especially
that
if
or how
they
to describe.
yeah, especially if they're also like drinking all the time and they're like,
Yeah,
"Hell yeah!" Like, there's a dude that he drinks all the time like me, and he fucking plays shows and fucking has songs, and then it's like I'm kind of like, and then I'm like kind of fucking up their idea of that by being like, oh, well, actually, the way to like keep playing shows and keep making music, and like the key to like longevity is to like actually cut that shit out of your life. And
yeah,
I think that kind of puts a damper on like the whole mystique for like some music fans.
sure, sure. Yeah, I think yeah, it's kind of this I think especially like if you're yeah, let's say you're at like a house show and you're drinking a lot and you're listening to the music and you want the singer or the bassist or whoever to just get extra wild. I think you get stuck in this bewilderment where it's like and it relates to the movie we're talking about a little bit though too, but like just like somebody yeah, again, like just kind of living out an experience that you aren't capable of like fulfilling yourself because I've definitely been in that position with a couple people too. I think I always surprise people when I tell them that like I'm a distance runner on the side. Like I like
Mm.
to I got a half marathon coming up in the next month and I'm
Damn.
training for it right now and uh but the way I people perceive me online like I guess is not equivalent to that as much so they don't know that side of my life I guess or how
Right,
I train or how I think or operate.
right,
Especially when you're getting into any sort of exercise, like your mindset is a little bit different than how it is in other places. So I definitely been in a couple of situations where people have been like, "Why are you doing this?" or like why, or what's the point, Jeremy, or whatever. And I'm just,
Right.
I give them vague answers, or I'll tell them up front, like, I'm doing this because I just want to, because
Yeah.
um,
That,
it's like any art form or any,
yeah, because I know there are people that might exist more online than other people, or might spend more time catering to a certain audience or whatever. And, it's quickly people that are, following them can probably forget pretty quick that like they do have like outside, like, outside of the internet, like hobbies or like goals that are extremely important. And some people consuming stuff online might not have as much of that, or some might not have anything like that, and like, they might have a harder time understanding that.
yeah, yeah. You can't fit like a lot of us into one bubble necessarily. We're all kind of scattered,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah. That's always I've always like gambled with the idea of just like going completely dark and just like getting off all of, Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, everything.
Right.
Just going cold turkey and not like touching that, and be a complete life mystery after people like knew who I was, and then I can just leave. But like there's always something that kind of brings me back, whether it's just like a thrill or a dopamine, that I can't quite jump that hurdle yet still.
Yeah. And
It's
like,
tough.
yeah, you want to be able to share things too, and like
Yeah,
to
exactly.
completely, like, I have a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine who's younger than me, and he's like very into skateboarding, and like he's getting very good at skateboarding. And he's kind of like been like, I don't want to post anything, I don't want to, but he's like landing all these crazy tricks, and like he's getting extremely good. And he's like, man, I'm so over it. And like part of me is like, fuck, like I know the stress of that, but I also want to be like, I've known people that have like been doing really well with skateboarding that like deleted their Instagram, stopped posting footage, like they like, oh fuck all that. And like I'm like, I also want to be like, well, don't totally think you're too cool for that, because you could lose out on some serious opportunities, whether it's whatever, if it's only free skateboards, even like, like whatever it might be. um I'd hate to see, um when people are afraid to put themselves out there. I hate to see talented people miss out on some opportunities like that. So,
Yeah.
it's like too much is bad, but like totally cutting yourself off from the world and not being able to share. Like if I made a song that I really liked, and I wasn't able to like show anybody anymore, if I wasn't able to even post it or whatever, that would probably bother me. Like I would feel kind of like, uh-oh, I don't have the, you know, that's a huge part of it, because like, yeah, like that self kind of. And like I've heard about musicians that do that. Like, oh, I made fucking 6 albums in my life. Oh no, I never released them. And you're like, dude, I can't help but like kind of get mad at them about that.
Yeah, it's like that love-hate relationship we have with like Vincent Gallo sometimes too, where it's just like, dude, just release your movies. Like
Yeah, that motherfucker, dude. I would love
yeah,
fucking. I'm like, there's this fucking, like, we know the names of the movies and shit, and like we're not gonna fucking. Dude, I sat through a piece of shit the other night because I'm trying to see like every movie that Vincent Gallo's acted in.
Mhm.
And I sat through this piece of fucking shit called Freeway 2.
Why'd you lock me up last night?
It is muy necessary to contain your demon.
Look, lady, I want to see Cyclona, and I want to see her now.
Tonight, you can bring more regalios. Then I make you my delicious tamales. They are the finest in all of Baal.
Why can't you talk straight for just 1 second?
Oh my god, never watch this movie, dude. Promise me you'll never even attempt to watch this film.
Is he the main character in it, or is he just
No,
like
he doesn't show up until like fucking 2/3 through this movie.
Damn.
It's just Natasha Lyonne and like some like lesbian serial killer, and they're like on the run, but it's like fucking late 90s or whatever, whenever the fuck it came out, in
Yeah.
all the worst ways, and it's horrible, dude. And then like the whole time, like this like serial killer, she's like a schizophrenic serial killer. She's like trying to like eat out Natasha Lyonne the whole movie, and like she's not having it. And then they escape from prison, and she's like, when I was little, there was this nun. There was this nun that made everything better. And like it turns out like Vincent Gallo is like the nun. He's like dressed as like a Mexican woman or something.
Oh god.
And he's like, oh, me Angel. Like he's like has like this like Mexican accent, and he's like acting like a woman. And like it was the best part of the movie for sure. And like he still did a phenomenal job, whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah,
Playing a Mexican nun woman or whatever. I was like, oh, finally. But dude, that movie was so fucking bad, dude. And
that should have been the plot. Like Vincent Gallo is a Mexican nun or whatever, you know. And just...
I'd watch the spin-off of that movie, but yeah, man, that movie was a piece of shit. But I'm still gonna do it. I'm still trying to check out all of his acting credits, and I think I'm almost there. I've seen a fair amount, and definitely some bad movies in there.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go through more of his filmography as well, and at least, as well as like getting copies of like his own work that is still available and out there. I've been on his site a couple times, like debating if I want to like spend $200+ on like a painting or something of his,
Yeah.
but
No,
like
I definitely have thought about that too. Like it'd be really cool to have something like that.
But it's always such a weird gamble with him. And at the time that we're recording this as well, I think he just dropped or did some sort of album drop for Buffalo 66.
Yeah, he did like a soundtrack reissue.
Yeah, looks really solid. Like I hope I can snag a copy.
I was definitely happy to see that. Have you seen this movie, Truth and Consequences, New Mexico?
No, I don't think so.
Or I was just like thinking about like the better movies of his acting that I've seen recently. Or like Arizona Dream was sick.
I know of that one. Yeah,
That's
on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good ones in there. There's some you should probably, you don't have to. Oh, you seen this movie called The Legend of Casper Hauser?
Oh yeah. All right now, King is coming. I know it now. Is that you, Casper Hauser, our little king? Oh, come on.
Like a black and white European movie.
Okay.
I got a copy of it, and I had to like change my fucking, like foreign films sometimes. Like, have you ever tried to like watch them on a PS4, where it's like you have to like change your, it like makes you change like a setting on your PS4 to like be able to like watch it. But it's like you only are allowed to do it like 5 times or something.
Yeah, it's such a weird setting.
It's really weird. So anyways, I like had to watch it like that. But man, it's like this phenomenal movie. It's really weird. It's like this like a DJ like gets like washed up on shore in like this like island city in Europe, and then like Vincent Gallo is like the sheriff of the town.
Yeah.
Like rides a dirt bike, and then like helps like train the DJ to become like this like prophet, this like this like EDM prophet. And it's like really fucking wild, like, and there's like it turns out to be like an alien and shit. Like it's really it's really out there, but I would definitely still recommend it. So there's some good ones out there that he just got the check for,
I like that when he just kind of goes for the extra just out there stuff. I'll have to double check. Oh yeah, so Legend of Casper Hauser.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would love to see him do more, but I think yeah, he's not so interested in he must be doing fine on cash and not having to take any roles he's not too passionate about.
yeah, he's an odd one because like his only last recent acting credit was Shut In, which I did see. That was like that
Yeah.
uh Daily Wire movie or whatever, which was
Yeah.
kind of meh, but he was good in it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see him, dude. It was always fun.
Yeah,
Even
and
though, even though
it's fun.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, and it's fun hearing just like how people on set of that film didn't really know who he was, apart from maybe like a couple people.
Mhm.
So he still has that kind of like
Like
uh
only Jake, like Jake knew.
only Jake Miller, I think, knew.
Yeah.
He's the one that would talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool though. Like he told me like Jake like asked I think he said he like asked him about a certain shot in like Buffalo 66 and he was like very like willing to like tell him exactly how he did it
Uh-huh.
and said it was like an amazing conversation. So that was really cool to hear.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's always a go-to as an example too. That's always been in since I first watched it back in like film school. I can't even remember but before it was like cool to love that movie, I guess, in
Yeah, yeah.
today's limelight. But it's always been like a go-to Thanksgiving movie now because it's just like it has that kind of family element to it, but also
Yeah.
just like the broken down families side of it too, because Thanksgiving, however you look at it, is always good or bad depending on the
Yeah.
people involved.
I love to see I mean you get the best of both worlds in that movie, but I do love to see the shit just when somebody can nail like a fucking shitty mom character,
Oh yeah.
that's that's the best, dude.
Yeah.
I like that's always like a breath of fresh air because the shitty father's been beaten into the ground, but when somebody can nail the distant kind of like, disassociated not so loving mother character is
Yeah.
those mommy issues movies can really they can be done really well.
Yeah, no, I saw that in a recent example, the movie, you probably saw my post about it, like, I was posting, like, my favorite films watched in, like, in this year so far. One of them was, the film Ordinary People,
Yeah,
which
dude.
won Best Picture in 1980,
Fuck
and
yeah.
I was like, "Wow, that mom is just another level, just in some ways, just such a piece of shit."
Yeah, dude. I was blown away by that movie. It was like something that I saw at a thrift store for like whatever, 25 cents in the VHS section.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, whatever. This looks pretty cool.
Pick it up. Yeah.
Picked it up and it was like those moments are so rare though that like nobody, you know, had told me like you got to see this. It was like it was more shocking to me when I was like, I can't believe I just picked this thing up off a shelf, put it in, and it just so happened to be that good. I mean, yeah, there was like a little Oscar guy like on the
Yeah.
stamped on the cardboard of the VHS. So like,
They gotta tell you that, yeah.
yeah, and I might have Googled like, is this I might have Googled it, and it was like, oh okay, whatever fucking 90 whatever percentage score. I was like, okay, so this probably isn't that big of a piece of shit. Like, definitely worth 50 cents. And yeah, especially because that whole thing kind of takes place close to where I live, but still such a different world, kind of where like that more like North Shore, outside of Chicago, Illinois,
Yeah.
rich. I know people that are from there, but even though it's funny how like how much of a different world that is, even though it's only like 30 minutes away from me or something. Like those
It
kids that grew up there, they're all
Yeah.
like, because I've talked to people that have seen that movie and actually were from that area, and they were like, yeah, dude, that does a extremely good job of like the some of the weird like more well off family dynamics that you might see with people that are in that fucking bracket of income, specifically
Yeah.
in that area outside of Chicago that is
more wealthy than most.
Yeah, those are like the American films that really do stand out, you know, because I know we're talking about a film that takes place like mainstream New York, but like, uh, you know, a lot of the American films on my list of that year, you know, like they took place in those like those much more, yeah, rural areas where like they just don't get covered or talked about enough, at least in mainstream film, let alone like getting an Oscar.
Mhm.
And you know, I always you know, there's just so much potential and so much like means for storytelling to get those places more exposure and more of a lived in scene, especially if you like lived out there or if you've been out there. You know, because I'm in Northern Virginia, so I think the most popular horror film, it's not a horror film, but the most popular film near to that genre is where I live anyway, the Donnie Darko,
Oh, word.
because I'm not too far from where the Bunnyman Bridge is. And
No
the
way.
Muddy Man legend is what inspired Frank the Rabbit for the writer of and director of that movie.
Oh, dude, that is
So
cool as fuck, dude.
yeah, and I go out there every other Halloween. It's a fun little spot, but you gotta be careful because like there's other properties like aligned to it, and you're always like you well first of all, it's a really sharp tunnel, so you can't really go through it without another car like coming the other way too.
Yeah.
But you're always worried that like some guy's gonna like come out of his house with a shotgun and like
Yeah.
just like, what are you doing on my property? You know. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely have had some moments like that filming, especially when we did some filming in Indiana, where I was like,
yeah.
we actually should be like a little bit careful of that.
Oh, dude, I'm such a sucker for not like getting permits. Like I try to sneak around as best as I can whenever I'm shooting anything.
Yeah.
And but yeah, no, exactly. I've run into that a couple times where people just give me the odd looks or like they're gonna call somebody and you know just got to get out of there.
Yeah, we had one shot set up at night and we were in a forest preserve and they fucking like they like closed the gate and
Mm,
like kind of locked our cars in the parking lot and like kind of went on the police loudspeaker like, you know, exit the park. We're shutting the park. And we had just set up the shot and I still
yeah,
needed to be there for like an hour at least to get what we needed. And we just kind of waited until they fucking went away and then luckily they didn't like they like locked the park, but it was still we were still able to like unhatch it and get our cars out of there when we left. But yeah, sometimes you just got to go and do it anyways.
yeah. Just yeah, run and gun. I assume that's what you kind of did for the Grove. It was just you guys out there. It was no other uh like technical guy or something. It was just you and the cast.
Yeah, it was just me with a fucking very early digital camera from like it was either like 2003 or 2005.
Okay.
And originally I did try to shoot it we started shooting the first couple scenes on a VHS-C camera.
Okay.
And after dealing with the battery life of I don't know how many fucking batteries I bought from eBay, but dude, there was I could have had 100 of those batteries and it wouldn't have been enough. So we kind of had to make the decision like very early on, like fuck, we might have to just go with this like really early digital camera and then see like what we can do in post to kind of like just fuck it up a little bit and make it a little bit more believable.
Mhm.
And hopefully it looked because I was very afraid of that like that super fake VHS effect that they'll use on like you know some of the VHS movies
Yeah,
in
I
that
hate
series,
it so much. Yeah.
and it's so busy and so
Yeah.
fucking noisy, and it's like it's distracting, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I get that like these cameras would fucking you know shit would flare up and that would happen, but it's like, dude, some of these filters and some of these effects are so busy that it's like atrocious.
And sometimes you can notice they're on loop too. Like you can just see the editing in
Yeah, what the
practice.
fuck, dude? Like, and like these things had budgets and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't think I spent like more than $1,000 on like everything, which is
Sure.
like, you know, I mean, from, all the shit that I had to buy on eBay, to the cameras, to the batteries, to the fucking uh admission to the arcade that we shot at, like it was like all those things. There's no way I cracked $1,000.
That's
You know?
yeah, no, and I did a short film sort of similar. I shot on high eight a couple years ago called Tape Deck. It's just about 10 minutes long, and the camera, the props I needed, the things I had, the space I needed to use didn't cost me over about $250, like
Nice.
tops. It was just very simple. And then, I watch a movie, I guess, like in this new realm of what's being called analog horror right now. When I
Hmm.
watched that fucking Skinamarink movie, I'm like, you had like thousands or like 15 to $20,000 spent on this when I could have just shot this for, yeah, $300. Yeah,
Yeah.
it confuses me.
Yeah, sometimes I really, really don't understand unless, like, the only thing that I could think of is, like, if you're, I don't know, like, flying out fucking every possible, team member that you would need. Like, what could possibly add up like that? Like,
Yeah.
flights, maybe, fucking, editing equipment. Like, do you need a new computer for it? Like, where's this
Yeah.
money going?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and and I came from a spot where I was just doing it all by myself, and I already had the equipment and the editing technology to pull off what I needed to do. So it's like one of those kind of scenarios where it's like that only that kind of budget only makes sense if really you're paying for like some sort of talent, like somebody that's charging like, I don't know, like 5,000 for a day shoot or something like that, like an Eric Roberts
Yeah,
actor
yeah.
type or something. But yeah, it perplexes me even now. Speaking of going back to Habit real quick, this was shot on 16 millimeter. And it was done with a budget of, I believe, 200,000, if not a little bit less. Definitely less than what he did in 1981, which looked like it was shot
Yeah.
on VHS or something. I
So
can't.
it was kind of like a Robert Rodriguez, like El Mariachi to
Yeah, yeah,
uh his file, not fucking Once Upon a Desperado.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was like kind of like that.
That's how it was kind of being treated, and kind of toyed with. Which, have you read that book, by the way, by Robert Rodriguez?
No,
Um, Rebel Without a Crew.
no, but I definitely need to own that.
Yeah, it's good. It's a quick read. I've definitely like highlighted little bits of it too, but it's just like his whole shebang into getting into filmmaking, and like for the most part, like his budget was uh doing like some sort of like 30-day health inspection experiment to that they pay, like he had to like um yeah, I don't know, he had to just be like a guinea pig for 30 days, and then they gave him like $8,000, and like, all right, I got the money I need for my movie. uh
Holy shit, dude, putting his body on the line, dude.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Dude,
eating
I'm
like
buying
shitty
this,
food and
dude.
everything, yeah.
I'm buying this today. All the respect, dude. All the respect to Mr. Robert Rodriguez, dude.
He's still, it's one of those things. uh I know he gets knocked on a lot for his like later movies and things like that, but like he's still one of my favorite directors because he's just so earnest and driven and does his own thing and by his own style that a lot of directors on his level don't do. That
Yeah,
I just respect him more, even if I don't care for the movie itself. Like he's just like a cool director.
yeah.
Um, and that book, yeah, if you pick it up, like it will elevate that, I think, even further.
That's incredible because I would really like to. I have a little idea that I'm thinking about shooting in the spring or maybe late spring, and I definitely want to try, uh, using a nice camera and like I'm kind of nervous about like, do I just like, do I like just rent a Black Magic or like something? Like I want it to look like, I want it to look nice, but I don't have any experience like using anything like that. And the editing is probably going to be a little bit more serious than something that like than like, my first short film. So like but I want to try I want to try something a little bit more difficult, and you know, maybe need a little bit more help, but
Sure.
I'm I think I want to try to take a stab at something like that. So I think I'm gonna definitely need all the lessons from that I can get. So maybe this book can help me out a bit. But yeah, do you have much experience with like any cameras like that?
Not on that level. I've worked with 35 millimeter RE cameras before when I was in film school, but from like uh from a distance, I guess, like assembling it and uh moving it around and even changing out film, but I've never actually shot on anything like too professional like that. I'm probably more acquainted with camcorders and DSLRs.
Word.
Um
Yeah, I'm not totally certain on how I want to do it yet, but and then like for 16 millimeter versus 35, like something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was shot on 16, correct?
I think so. I should know this because I've got the poster hanging up right here, but
And
let
then what's really the difference? Like, because I don't know shit about film and like film stocks or anything like that. But what I guess like I'm really just in the dark when it comes to like film and like 16 versus 35 and like what does that all mean really? But like, like I don't know. I don't even know if I would ever attempt to like
yeah.
I know nothing about it. So like even the idea of like, oh, shoot it on this or that. Like I know a Super 8 camera. I know what that is,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be attempting working with anything in I don't even the cost
Sure.
of that alone would be is daunting to even think about.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I was gonna say it's really about like image size, and it kind of varies mostly how each camera to camera operates with those kinds of film stocks. Um, to name some examples or recent examples, I know the Walking Dead show shot on 16 millimeter. It's got a grainier sort of spotty texture to it.
mhm.
But it was like super 16, so it was much more polished than what you would see like with Habit or something.
Yeah.
Um, uh, 35. I mean, I guess recently is the new Scorsese Killers of the Flower Moon shot on 35. Do we know? I don't know
I don't
actually.
know.
Um, Tarantino, he shoots on 35. Paul Thomas Anderson shoots on 35, or
Yeah.
sometimes they'll go extra, but yeah, it
Because I'm
really
wondering like those like the shots in like Texas Chainsaw Massacre that like all the shots in that movie that like are that like look like paintings or whatever.
yeah.
Like I'm wondering like to achieve something that looks that um just visually striking, like do you have to use like 16? Like because like there's shots in that movie that are like like burned into my brain as like some of the most like just the nicest looking things I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm wondering like is that really just like the power of like that type of film to like I mean, I know that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than, with cinematography and stuff, but um
I think so for sure because you look at a sequence where Leatherface is spinning around in front of the sunset by the end. Um,
yeah, like is that just the power of film?
I think so. At the end of the day, like you're not going to capture that sort of texture if you're not using that kind of format,
Right.
or something similar to it.
I believe it.
I mean, the tech has gotten to a point now where you can mimic it digitally, but there's always something like off about it. Like sometimes you can tell if you're any sort of like editor or cinematographer, you can kind of tell that something's a little bit off. Um, but generally, I think yeah, you have to film with the organic stuff to.
Yeah, like when I take film photos and I fucking get them developed, it's like I don't pull up Lightroom,
Oh yeah, yeah,
I don't have to touch that shit. Like it just looks
exactly.
nice.
Yeah,
So,
I'm shooting stuff raw right now with my I don't have it here at the moment, but my Canon EOS M uh little digital camera. But it was this camera that came from like 2012. It was one of the first major DSLR cameras that just didn't quite take off like it wanted to, but is
Yeah.
now being modded to like work with most lenses and to work as like a basically mini cinema camera. You can just slip it in
Really?
your pocket and take it wherever you want as you
Have you
please.
have you released anything that you shot on that?
I've dropped like photos on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, but like nothing major video related. Like you can find a couple things on the YouTube channel like of me
Yeah.
testing it out, but
Yeah,
um
I definitely like to see something.
sure. Yeah, I'll send something your way. Absolutely.
Cool.
But yeah, like it's but that's just an example where it's just like the digital stuff is fun, but I think at the end of the day want to get more into just the filmic stuff, like the real stuff that you gotta get printed and
Yeah, that's where when I see budgets and stuff, that's where I can start to understand where that money goes.
yeah, exactly.
Because I know that that is an extremely expensive process. I mean, even dude, even getting my little pictures developed these
Yeah.
days is just becoming a quick money burner as well.
Yeah.
So I'm much more careful when with what I'm fucking trying to take a picture of nowadays. But
Well,
I've been shooting a lot of this expired APS film,
uh-huh.
and I've had very good luck with that. Like when I get it developed, they kind of look at me like it's a pain in the ass, you know. And I notice like it takes a little longer to get it back, but the photos come out amazing. And they're like, they're always like, "Oh, you know this is expired, right?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, "So there might be," because it's always like a super autistic dude that works at
Uh
the
yeah,
camera places.
sure.
Not to out my guy because he's amazing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's like, "Well, you know, like there may be some minor imperfections," and I was just like, "Yeah, dude, that's fine." And he's like, "Okay." He like almost looks like he almost looks like really uncomfortable that I'm like down to like take the gamble
Yeah.
on like film that's like 25 years old or whatever. But I've had amazing luck. Like all these photos have been coming back like super pretty, like knock on wood. But
That's good.
um yeah, because I bought this contacts camera from this little Japanese dude off Facebook Marketplace,
Mhm.
and I just saw like I was like, oh, a contacts camera. Oh, looks like a fair price, and he only wanted like $100 or something.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, whatever. I was just like bored, and I was like, yeah, I'll meet up with this dude. And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even like think about it not being a 35 millimeter camera. And I was like, oh fuck. I was like, wait, what is this? And I was like, APS film. And then I started like doing my research, and I was like, what the fuck? They don't make this anymore. And then I was like, oh no, did I just like waste all my money? Like
Yeah.
on this, did I just waste $100? And then I was like, and then I started doing more research, and it was like, oh no, you can buy it on eBay. It's like still pretty affordable, and a lot of places still develop it. So I was like, oh okay, so maybe I'll try it. And I've I've gotten some pretty fucking good pictures off this thing.
It yeah, like there's always like a seller out there that will have like the right kind of camera that you're looking for if you know exactly what you're trying to shoot on.
Yeah,
It's funny that you bring up though that like why somebody would work at a camera store or a photo development store like that and not get why you want to have those photos developed, I guess.
yeah, like he was
Yeah.
completely surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, because the one I go to, like the guys there, they know their stuff pretty well. I had a bunch of 35 photos from my trip to Utah earlier this year, developed recently, and it was unfortunately shot on one of those underwater Kodak cameras,
Yeah,
and because there's no flash on it,
yeah,
half the photos just did not come out well at all. Like
fuck.
there were ones where I was like, oh, this is such a good shot, this is such a good frame, I'm ready to go, and just utter darkness. It didn't come out. So I could only like save and use what I could, but you still have to pay for half the photos that don't, yeah, come out well.
Of course, dude. My
Yeah.
fucking band just bought. Uh, my band was like, "Oh, should we pick up like a digital camera for the road? Like, we're at whatever, we're at Best Buy right now."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." So they pick up this like little Sony digital camera, and it's like got like all the vlogging features and bullshit. And then I'm like, "Where the fuck is the flash on this bitch?" And dude, there's no flash.
No.
I was like, what the fuck? I looked up the flash that you have to buy to like add on to it. First of all, it's like bigger than my fucking fist. This thing is fucking huge, and the flash was like $120. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are they're just not including flashes on like digital cameras now?
It's insane, and sometimes they cost even more than lenses, which is ridiculous. Like,
I was like I was kind of pissed, dude. I was like, this camera was like over $500 and it doesn't have any sort of built-in flash at all. So I was just a little
crazy.
surprised. I was a little surprised by that.
I hope the trip was still worth it, though. Everything was
Oh
all
yeah,
right.
dude. We still had a blast. I still got good pictures on it.
Yeah.
I was using my camcorder for the video, and I think I might edit together you know, fucking tour documentary / maybe like song teaser, because we have a couple more songs coming out before the album drops on Christmas.
Yeah, if you don't mind dropping for the viewers and listeners, what's the new album that's gonna be coming our way very soon?
My band, the Orwells, has a new album that we've been sitting on for a minute called Friendly Fire.
Okay. I've
And
listened to a couple of the ones you've already dropped, and they're fire. They're awesome.
Cool. Thanks, dude. Yeah, that album is we're gonna drop one more single on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Just keep things festive.
Sure.
And then the whole album will come out on Christmas Day. So it'll be a little present for all. And
yeah, keep things festive with the gun pointed at your face. I love it.
Yeah, dude, I'm catching heat for this gun from like family members and shit. People are like, "What's up with the gun, dude?" I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck? Are you kidding, dude?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a gun, dude. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
guns in fucking movies all the time. Relax."
It's 2023.
Yeah, dude, everybody's got one. Fucking chill out. Yeah, and it's like, dude, the name of the album is Friendly Fire. Like,
yeah.
Like, what do you like? People can't.
Oh, there's a theme here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a theme, dude. Like, it's in the fucking name, dude. Come on. Like, think a little bit. So, I don't know. Some people are just fucking dense, dude. But, yeah, I'm super proud of that record, and I'm glad that it's finally going to come out. And, yeah, I don't know really what else to say about that. I'm pretty stoked on it, and I think everybody's going to like it. And, Thanksgiving, yeah, that'll be the next track. And did you happen to see the trailer for Eli Roth's long-awaited Thanksgiving film?
Yes, I did. I'm glad you bring this up actually, because I was talking to a couple other workmates about this recently. That's my favorite of the Grindhouse trailers from way back when they did the Grindhouse release.
Yeah.
It was the most authentically looked the most lived in of that era, the way they edited it. But I was kind of shocked. I knew he was going to do this, but I was kind of shocked that he didn't live up to that with this trailer. It looks like another one of these kind of clean slated
oh right, like he didn't
horror CW shows. Yeah, not the film look,
Right.
But I'm still kind of curious about it, because I do, in some ways, I do kind of like Eli Roth in that realm. He's just really hard to get into a lot of his movies, because I don't know if it's the acting or the writing, or if there's just like some disconnect, because he's such a good horror film lover. He seems to really know what he's paying homage to and has a lot of respect for, but then it doesn't ever really fully translate in his movies. And I'm trying to figure out what's like the missing like chess piece here for him. But what did you think of it?
I mean, yeah, I'm probably gonna watch it. I mean, it looked goofy as hell, but like,
yeah.
I'm still down, especially, it's just one of those guys where it's like, yeah, dude, he fucking, especially like for the time that he did like Cabin Fever and Hostel and like all of his like earlier works, they were so fun and so great for that time. And like, what he was like, I don't know how to say it, where it's like, if something's good in the time that he made it, what more can you do?
Yeah.
Like that's that time period that he was existing in, and he was fucking coming out with fucking horror blockbusters that like, did really well, and like everybody, like horror fans were like pretty well received too. It's kind of like, what more can the guy do at the time? But, then he kind of, he did all of his shark stuff, and the Death Wish remake, which is like still pretty fun. But
Sure.
yeah, like somebody that, like you're saying, is so influenced by horror, and like, got the like Evil Dead bug when he was like a young man, and you know, you would like you would hope to just like get more original kind of ideas, and like more I mean, I'm sure it's impossible to get fucking finance for like every wild idea that comes your way, but it's like,
Yeah.
part of me was like, when I saw that, like, he was making the Thanksgiving movie, I was almost like worried. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I know this is like, that was like a fun thing that like we all saw, but it's like, that can't be like I'm hoping, like, I'm like, that can't just be like one of the, like, I hope he wasn't sitting around like, I don't really have any ideas right now, like,
Yeah, yeah, like it's a cash grab or something
yeah,
where
like,
like
should I just make
yeah.
Thanksgiving from like, from the trailer that everybody saw? Like, I hope it's not that. I hope it's more of like an actual passion project or something,
Yeah.
because I don't want to think about a dude that like, like, I don't like to think about a dude like running out of shit. Like, that bums me out. So
Yeah.
I hope it's really good, and like he just fucking smashes it, and it's kind of like, catches people off guard. But because I don't want him to make a fucking, a Happy Death Day or whatever, one of these like way too modern fucking, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about though, like those kind of.
No, yeah, yeah, because I was gonna bring up, the one thing I will always respect about Eli Roth, and even like some of the Rob Zombie types, or a lot of these other characters that are like coming into doing these genre pictures, like they don't fit in with the A24 Blumhouse
Yeah,
sort of like horror system as much. They kind of just
yeah,
do their
yeah,
own thing, and even if the movie is not a hit or it doesn't work, like I will still respect that they're not like doing the same thing that we're all seeing
sure.
right now. But and I'll tell you right now, it's the biggest theme that I keep seeing, and it sounds like this is also a thing in Talk to Me, is it's all trauma based now. Like it's all like, oh, my past or something hurt me or something.
That's true.
It's that seems to be the big thing at the moment. And
Yeah,
it's getting really stale
yeah,
right now.
trauma, get over it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
it's time,
Yeah,
it's time to get
it's
over it.
time to heal. Yeah.
But yeah, now that you say that, yeah, dude, it's always like in the movie they fucking, they do the flashback to the past, and they see yeah, that is definitely a reoccurring theme that might be, a slightly easier route to pull on your viewers' emotions, and
Yeah.
kind of get you invested a little bit more. But yeah, man, those OGs that we grew up with, it's hard not to it's always going to be hard not to root for them,
Yeah.
because, they did give us some a couple masterpieces, and you know, that's all it takes for me, really. If you make something that is that I'm rewatching all the time, and to me it holds the test of time, then like I'm probably going to watch everything that you make forever. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is like an appropriate time to kind of close it back to the movie we were originally covering that we didn't really
yeah.
talk about, but that's totally
Well,
fine.
yeah,
'Cause-
yeah.
no, this is what I live for. Like, yeah, the fun conversations that just kind of like deviate completely, but this is what they
Totally.
build up.
Totally. They're good ones.
Uh, the movie Habit, I think I wrote down here recently one of my notes. Like most indie films, is best enjoyed on its own terms, overlooking some of the heavily relatable, and that is my poem for this day. So,
Fuck yeah, dude. Couldn't have said it better.
Habit. See it in a darkened theater.
It's not possible. Sam.
I don't know, it's just like our little thing, like with me and Anna, right? It's over, Sammy. You're gonna be
Take
fine.
a breath and abandon it. Just a tear in your eye.
No, Mario, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fun to finally, I guess, collaborate. I know we've been in the same corners for quite some time. I'm just was like, what's a movie I could get him on for, and then just like talk about whatever else. But I think we found the right one.
Yeah, it was a great talk, dude.
Yeah. If there's anything you would like to promote or plug for those listening or watching, go right at it right now. This is your time and space to do it.
Not really. Besides, like, my new band's record my band's new record on Christmas is probably what I'm looking forward to most finally releasing. And that's all that's all that's on the front burner right now, as far as music and creative stuff goes. But hopefully in the spring, I think I want to save up a couple bucks and like maybe try a little bit more of a straightforward production for the one. Like they were just like, "Oh yeah, this is the best track," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "For real?" And they were like, "This is the one," and I was like, "All right." I was like, I kind of trusted them on that, and I think they were totally right about that. So that's that Zoomer Zeitgeist fucking. It's fun. It's fun to kind of let them like lab rat on like tracks. If I think that I got something. There's some of the people that I shoot music over to, just like, what do you think of this? Anything with with the younger generation? And they're like, fuck yeah, dude. So
I remember I sent it to one of my friends who does like hip hop on the side, and the music video, and he was like, shit, man, I think I gotta switch genres here. I don't know, this was like next level kind of
no way.
Yeah,
that's rad to hear, dude.
Yeah,
because I got a lot of respect for like fucking hip hop videos and like all that. But I hope I bring that energy sometimes, because sometimes I look around at my, I don't know, whatever fucking genre I exist in, and I get very bored. And I think I don't know. I feel like some people maybe are like a little bit afraid right now or something. You know? To kind of like put themselves out there and just throw down, dude. So anybody that's down to throw down, I feel like I can kind of gravitate towards and have a respect for, and hopefully, yeah, just more collaborations in the future, and working with people on music videos, and you know, I'm down to travel. I love a good road trip. So, you know, if anybody's down to collaborate, like, I really want to do just more music videos, and you know, whatever it is, music production with other people. I really want to just keep that going.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate the hustle. And if you're touring through the Northeast again and you hit up Virginia, just hit me up, and I can film, do sound.
Awesome.
Always happy to help out with other fellow collaborators. So
Sick, dude.
yeah, really sick stuff. Check out Mario Cuomo, check out the Orwells, check out all the stuff they're putting out on YouTube and Spotify and other sources. I'll put links in the description for this. You can find me over at Jeremobi. I am on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, where you hear this, and ODYSEE, where you most likely will watch this, because I don't have the rights to the footage, and YouTube will always give me a fucking hard time about it. So that's probably where you'll be able to see it. That's where you can find me, at Jeremobi. And then I think I'm still working out the credentials at the moment, but it's looking like I might have a small little documentary drop come out maybe in the next month or two.
Awesome.
And I'm really excited about that. It's going to be shocking. We'll call it that for now. That's all I'll say. So,
all right.
And that's about it. Thank you, Mario, so much for coming on the show.
No problem, dude. We'll do it again sometime.
And to the rest of you listening, watching, have a good night.